The arena floor gleamed under artificial lights that mimicked the pale suns of Valdris Prime. Commander Lyara stood with her arms crossed, watching the human shuffle forward. He looked unremarkable in every way. Average height, plain features, wearing clothes that seemed too simple for someone who had traveled across 3-star systems to reach this moment. "Your name?" Her voice carried across the empty space, sharp and dismissive. "Marcus." He didn't offer a surname. Lyra's lip curled upward. In her 200 years, she had witnessed countless species attempt the trial of strength. The Crothans with their 4 arms and reinforced bone structure. The Hellion giants who stood 3 times the height of any human. The cybernetically enhanced Nexari who had replaced most of their biological components with advanced machinery. All had failed. The sword remained embedded in the obsidian platform, unmoved for 5,000 years. And now this human thought he could succeed. You understand the terms? Lyara gestured toward the blade. It rose from black stone, its edge catching light in ways that seemed to defy physics. Ancient runes covered the fuller, glowing faintly blue. Many have tried. All have failed. Marcus nodded once. He approached the platform slowly, his boots making soft sounds against the polished floor. Lyara noticed he didn't hurry. He didn't posture or flex or prepare himself with the theatrical displays that others had employed. He simply walked. The sword was called Vantaris, forged in the core of a dying star by the first builders. A civilization that had vanished before Lyra's people had even discovered fire. According to legend, only one worthy of leading the assembled fleets against the approaching void swarm could claim it. Worthiness was never defined. The sword would know. Lyara had tested it herself a century ago. The blade hadn't moved a fraction of an inch, though she had strained with all her considerable strength. That failure still stung. Marcus stopped before the platform. He studied the sword without speaking. Minutes passed. Lyra's patience thinned. "If you're waiting for divine inspiration, you'll wait forever," she said. "Either try or leave." He glanced back at her. His eyes were brown, ordinary, holding no special quality that she could detect. Then he reached out and gripped the handle. Lyara almost laughed. He had used one hand. The Crothans had used all 4 of their massive limbs. The Hellion champion had wrapped both enormous hands around the grip and pulled until his muscles had torn. The Nexari had employed hydraulic assistance built into their mechanical arms. All had failed, and this human used one hand. Marcus pulled. The sword didn't move. His jaw tightened slightly, but his expression remained calm. He shifted his stance, planting his feet more firmly. Still nothing. Lyara watched his arm tremble with effort, watched the muscles in his forearm cord beneath his skin. Ordinary human strength. Predictable human failure. "Enough," she said. "You're wasting both our time." Marcus didn't respond. He closed his eyes. His breathing slowed, becoming rhythmic and measured. Lyara frowned. What was he doing? Some kind of meditation technique? That wouldn't help. The sword responded to worthiness, not mental discipline. And something changed. The runes on the blade flickered. The blue glow intensified for just a moment before dimming again. Lyra's eyes widened. In 5,000 years, the sword had never reacted to anyone. Marcus opened his eyes. He didn't pull harder. Instead, he seemed to relax. His grip loosened slightly. His shoulders dropped. He looked almost peaceful standing there, one hand resting on the ancient weapon. "What are you doing?" Lyara demanded. "That's not how you pull a sword from stone." "I know," Marcus said quietly. "That's why everyone fails." Before Lyara could respond, Marcus spoke again. His words were strange, flowing in a language she didn't recognize. not the common tongue used throughout the assembled systems, not any dialect she had studied in her long career. Something older. The syllables seemed to resonate with the platform itself. The runes blazed bright. The blue light became white, then gold. The obsidian beneath the blade began to crack, fine lines spreading outward like a spiderweb. Liara took an involuntary step backward. Marcus wasn't pulling the sword. He was asking it to come. The blade moved. Not violently, not with the grinding protest of metal against stone. It slid free smoothly, easily, as if it had never been bound at all. The light intensified until Liara had to shield her eyes. When it faded, Marcus stood holding Vantaris in one hand. The blade pointed downward, his expression unchanged. Liara stared. Her mind struggled to process what she had witnessed. 5,000 years. Thousands of attempts. The strongest warriors from hundreds of worlds. All had failed. And this unremarkable human had succeeded where they could not. How? The word escaped her before she could stop it. Marcus looked at the sword, then at her. Everyone who tried before wanted to prove something. To themselves, to their people, to you. They wanted to demonstrate strength, to show they deserved the blade. But Vantaris wasn't made to be claimed by strength. Then what? Lyra's voice came out harder than she intended, covering the confusion beneath. Understanding? Marcus turned the blade, examining the runes. The first builders didn't create a test of power. They created a test of wisdom. The sword doesn't choose the strongest leader. It chooses the one who knows that leadership isn't about individual strength at all. He walked toward her, and she noticed he carried the sword carefully, respectfully. Not as a trophy, as a responsibility. My people have a long history of choosing the wrong leaders, Marcus continued. We elevated warriors who won battles, but couldn't win peace. We followed strong voices that led us to ruin. We learned slowly, painfully, that the best leaders aren't always the ones who can pull the sword from the stone. Sometimes they're the ones who understand when not to. Lyra's training reasserted itself. She straightened, forcing her expression back to neutral. The blade has chosen. By ancient law, you now command the assembled fleets. The Void Swarm approaches the outer colonies. They will arrive in 3 cycles. What are your orders? Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he did something that shocked Liara even more than pulling the sword. He offered it to her, handle first. I'm not qualified to lead a fleet, he said simply. I'm a translator. I spent 20 years studying dead languages and forgotten texts. The only reason I could free Vantaris is because I found a fragment of First Builder script on an archaeological dig. I learned their language. I understood their meaning. Then why did you come? Liara didn't take the sword. She couldn't quite bring herself to touch it, because no one else would. Marcus smiled slightly. Every warrior and champion and enhanced soldier who tried was doing it for the wrong reasons. Someone needed to try for the right one. But having the wisdom to free the blade doesn't make me a fleet commander. It just makes me someone who can read ancient languages and recognize the difference between strength and leadership. He gestured with the sword again, still offering it. You tried to pull it 100 years ago. I looked up the records. You've spent your entire career protecting these systems. You've won battles through strategy, not just force. You've negotiated peace with former enemies. You've prioritized civilian safety over military glory. The sword chose me because I understood what it represented. But I'm choosing you because you've already proven you embody those principles. Liara looked at the blade, then at Marcus. The legends say whoever frees Vantaris must lead the defense. The legends are wrong. Marcus set the sword carefully on the platform between them. The first builders weren't stupid. They knew that the person wise enough to claim the blade might not be the person skilled enough to wield it. That's why Vantaris isn't just a sword. It's a symbol. Whoever holds it commands the fleets, yes. But nowhere in the ancient texts does it say that the person who frees it must be the one who holds it. He stepped back. You know fleet tactics. You understand logistics and strategy. You've dedicated your life to protecting others. I spent 3 months learning to pronounce first builder verbs correctly. We both have our skills. The question is whether you'll accept this responsibility. Lyara stared at the sword. Her hand moved toward it, then stopped. If I take this, if I fail, the outer colonies will fall. Billions will die. Yes, Marcus agreed. That's what makes this leadership. Not the glory of claiming a legendary blade, but the weight of every life depending on the choices you make. That's what the first builders understood. That's what the sword tests for. And that's why it let me free it, because I knew I couldn't carry that weight alone. Lyra's fingers closed around the grip. The blade hummed, a sound like distant music. The runes glowed softly, accepting her. She lifted Vantaris, feeling its perfect balance, and for the first time in a century, she smiled genuinely. 3 cycles to prepare, she said. Not much time. Then we should start planning. Marcus pulled a data tablet from his bag. I may not be a military commander, but I can read supply manifests and coordinate logistics. Everyone contributes what they can. Commander Lyara raised the sword toward the distant stars, where the void swarm approached. The blade caught the light, shining like a promise. Behind her, the unremarkable human who had proven wiser than the greatest warriors began organizing supply routes on his tablet. The sword had chosen correctly after all.